Hello, everybody. It's me, Angie Clay, and I am here again with another awesome interview. I'm going to be interviewing Robin from Gray and Gloss, and we're going to be talking about self-care and how we're just maintaining our sanity during these uncertain times, and just a little bit of conversation on self-care and a little bit about her business and how she's just maintaining all of this. So, hello, Robin. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you're able to get together and talk with me. It's just a certain time, like everything that's happening, collaborations are so important. Like
Mm-hmm.
helping each other, sharing each other's businesses and what we're doing and how we're like supporting each other. And I just find
Right,
that's really
right.
important during this whole COVID-19 thing.
Mm-hmm. I
So this
agree.
morning, tell me, what are you drinking? Coffee or tea?
I'm going to eventually drink coffee. Right now I'm drinking water.
Okay, that's good. As soon as I'm like the order, I should be having liquid in the morning. It should be water first and then
Mm-hmm.
coffee, but I have to pick and choose.
Right, right.
Okay,
I'm gonna
awesome.
try and fix my lighting. Hold on.
Okay, sure.
Okay, it's much better. I was like, why am I still more washed out than I would like?
Uh-huh.
So that won't help either, but it's better. I was like, I'm not that color. So I was like, let me turn this light off or adjust it. So, okay.
All right, awesome. Well, I know especially when you have interviews at certain times of the day, and everyone, we've been up since like early this morning. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually right now 6:41 a.m., but we've been talking since about 6:20 a.m. So
Yeah.
hence our lighting issues this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. So if you could tell us a little bit about your business, Gray and Gloss, and like what made you want to start this adventure and what is this all about?
Well, Grand Gloss has been kind of, it started out as a natural hair blog and it's kind of morphed into what it is now. So I've been natural, I would say probably almost 10 years now, about 8.5, 9, closer to that. And I originally wanted it to be a natural hair blog. And in my frustration of trying to get that started here in the Pacific Northwest, because the audience is very different, um, and just trial and error and figuring out what I like to do. So going natural, it then kind of morphed into I really enjoy makeup and talking about makeup and just finding different brands, trying out new things. Eyeshadow palettes and lip gloss are my faves, but so I try and do all of that. And when I cut my hair, it was kind of like, okay, now I have all this face. And it wasn't that I didn't like how it looked, because I do, but it was just like now there's just more to work with. It was kind of like you can just see everything. So I was like, let me kind of start doing this. And so I originally started out, just writing about it like in Facebook posts and stuff like that. And then I decided that I was going to do like some network marketing and incorporate that into it. So I started with one company, but I've since changed and moved to a different company because the feedback that I was getting were that customers wanted something more affordable, but they also don't mind splurging. So then I kind of wound up talking about skincare and things like that because I'm older than the average blogger. So I think like for most, there's no audience. So I was like, what is my niche? Who are the people that are going to listen? And it's interesting because when you're older, you're kind of like, who can I talk to about this? Who's going to listen? And why is anybody going to listen to somebody over the age of 45 talk about, 12 pan eyeshadow palettes? So once I figured that out, I started looking. I actually did a search on YouTube for um, beauty bloggers over 50. And there are quite a few, but they're all Caucasian. There's not a lot of women my age over the age of 50 who are blogging about natural hair, makeup, healthcare, and things like that. And then if you compound that with the fact that if you're plus size, that goes down exponentially. So I played around with that. I found a company that I liked that was affordable. I never really stopped talking about it. Um, there were a whole bunch of frustrations that went along with that. You know this because we've talked about it, and it's like, what are we going to do? It's like, oh my goodness, it's like I can't get people to pay attention. And one of the things that I figured out is like I need to still be myself, but I also want to have something, a catchy name and a brand. And so then I was like, it just came to me, Gray and Gloss. This is perfect. It's like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just because I'm older, it was not taken. At first, I think there was one when I was looking for the name. It was something gloss and something else. And I was like, well, no, I don't want that because that was already taken. And so then when I did the search to get my actual link, when I went to GoDaddy to do that, Gray and Gloss was available. I was like, I'm taking it. And so I knew that I was serious then because it's like people kept telling me, it's like, just pay for, just go to GoDaddy, get a link and have everything be directed to that one thing. And I was like, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay. And so I finally just bit the bullet and did it. And ever since then, because now I've paid, so now the name is mine. So I'm kind of committed to that.
Right.
It kind of solidified it for me what I needed to do. And so it's been consistency. One of the things that I've had to really focus on is like making sure that I'm consistent and posting and just true to myself. So there are moments when I get super frustrated because I go live and I'm sitting there and I'm talking to myself for 40 minutes.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, what? It's like, fine. And I think last Friday I was doing a makeup look. It was like date night in, and I was talking to myself for the first 30 minutes. The video was an hour long, but I was talking to myself for the first 40 minutes. And then people started joining, and it's like I really wanted to give up on the video. I was like, there's nobody here. But it's like by that point, I had already had half my face done. It's like I'm not going to stop because now it's just a waste of makeup if I give up now. So I decided, nope, I'm going to keep doing it. And then by the end of the video, there wasn't like hundreds of people. There was like maybe 10 or 15. But I still had people that came, ask questions, and all of that. So it's hard to maintain your energy when that happens. But at the same time, you really have to continue to be consistent. And that's one thing that I've learned along the way is to just be consistent. Don't give up. I mean, it's going to change. It's going to morph. It's going to be all kinds of things, but just, maintain your consistency. So I still talk about hair, still talk about makeup, still do all of that. And then, I throw in some quotes that really speak to me or a Bible scripture that really speaks to me that I think the people that are in the group would really appreciate. And I think that resonates. I definitely see the inspirational stuff resonates a lot. I have a few people that are not in Washington. So I think that helps too. Washington State is a very different mindset of things when it comes to beauty, natural hair. It's very strange here from anywhere else that I've ever lived. And I'm from here, so it's weird to move to Philadelphia and then come back here and be here for the past 20 some odd years and then do what I do now. So it's, this is what I do. Gray and Gloss is what I do. I have my job that I like, but Gray and Gloss is what I do. And it's really what I want to do. I mean, and it just helps with a lot of things. I didn't even think that, makeup and talking about natural hair was going to be a thing when I started it. But when you see people that are out there doing it and you're just like, I can do that. All I need is a camera. I can use my computer, and of course, it's difficult because you don't want to compare yourself to other people, because they're shooting video in 4K. They have all these fantastic, you can see this isn't my normal shooting space. I'm usually in another direction, but I'm in my bedroom and I'm going to continue to be in my bedroom. I'm not doing anything different. I'm just clearing out space as I go, making it look as nice as I can, but I'm not trying to compete with people who have 3-4 million followers. They've been doing it for, there's some YouTube OGs that have been doing it for 10 years. So no, I'm not trying to compete with them anymore. That's the other thing. It's just, you can't, and you're going to have an audience. You're going to grow that eventually. So I just stuck with it, and that's where I am now.
Yeah, once you get past the whole like compare thing, because we've both been talking about the whole natural hair thing for like forever. It was stop, go, start, stop, go, start. Go.
Right.
So now, why they act like this? So it's like,
exactly.
I don't know, I guess it comes with maturity as growing a business. You eventually just say,
Right.
you know what, I don't really care. And you just kind of go with it. And you sit, I sit back and think, man, I just wish I had more of that attitude, a few years ago. But sometimes when you're an innovator and the thing hasn't been done before, it's just kind of hard, because in the beginning, I was on the training with Damon John of FUBU, and he was saying like, you have to be self-taught, and that sometimes when you're an innovator, like nobody's going to believe in what you're doing in the beginning.
Right.
Like, they're just not going to be supporting you at all. So you just have to like put the blinders on and keep going, really.
Yep.
So yeah, and I like your concept, gray and gloss. You also look, and there's young people dyeing their hair gray.
I know.
It's like, okay, they're on you going with that, but all right.
Not how gray hair works, but okay. You do you, girl.
Yeah, so it's like, you can also pull in some, I know it's more of a mindset kind of thing, because our attitudes change. I think when you hit a certain age, like 45, the hair comes off and you don't really care about what other people think.
It's, I think the older I get, this is going to sound so bad because I don't have another word for it. It's just that the older I get, the more intolerant I am to ridiculousness. It's like, I get it. There's stuff that's funny. I have a very healthy sense of humor. I laugh at a lot of stuff. But then there's some stuff, it's just like, oh my God, they're just running this into the ground. So it's like memes, they're funny to a certain point about certain things. And I'm like, yeah, this is funny. Yeah, this is funny. Yeah, this is funny. And then I get to the point where I'm like, okay, let's move on. Let's do something else. You have so many creative people. There has to be enough room and enough space for everybody to be successful. So there's a mindset that goes along with that, which I think touches on your next question, but there's a mindset that for me, I think because I am a witness, it's tempered by that, but I also get frustrated because of it. So it's like, I'm not isolating myself from that. I realize this is the world we live in, and these are the things that we have to deal with. But at the same time, these are the things we have to deal with, and they're frustrating. So being an African-American woman, trying to do things that, and being older and trying to have a voice on a medium and in a space that is skewed younger because of the technology, there's a lack of respect for people over the age of 45, which I find hilarious because the oldest millennial is 44. So I'm just like, why is there's this disconnect? And so it's just, I'm trying not to get frustrated with it. I find that that's my biggest frustration in this business, being a creative and a older creative, a Gen X creative, is the lack of, collaboration with people that are older. There's just a need, I think, within our group to do that. There's a Instagram page that I follow that was pretty inspirational in regards to that. It's called Fly Hip and Ageless. And everybody they do is over the age of 40. They feature people over the age of 40. They're gray, different aspects of their life. It's just they're showing they're active. They have a lot to say, lots of good advice. So it's like, and I said, I can do this. I can't use this name, but I can definitely do something similar to that. And so, trying to be respectful and listen to people who are younger and learn from them. I've learned a lot. I've learned what I want to do, and I've learned what not to do. And I think the biggest thing is just not isolate people. And as long as you don't do that,
Yeah.
and as long as you're respectful to everybody that you come in contact with, it's a little easier. I mean, because early on, when you're trying to reach out and it's like, hey, what are you doing? And like I said, there's a different mindset in the African American community. So when you ask somebody, hey, I'm reaching out, this is what I'm doing, I just need a couple of pointers on how you got started, what did you do? And your response is, or the response you get back is like, I worked really hard. It's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And you're like, no, but what did you do? It's like, I don't need your whole thing of what you did. I just need one or two things that you can, tell me, specifically. And it's like trying to put toothpaste back in the tube to get this information from people. And you're just like, all I wanted was this thing. And it's like, well, I don't give advice for free. And I'm like, but you got advice for free. And it's like, well, yeah, you can always go to Google. And I'm like, I'm a college educated woman. I paid for stuff, but I don't mind sharing information for free. You're literally on YouTube. This is the funny thing about it. You're on YouTube and you're giving advice for free. No, it's a free platform. Nobody's being charged for that unless you're paying for premium. But you post content, and the only people that are paying you are your sponsors and the people who are sending you product, and you're getting paid in makeup palettes and hair product. I just want that perspective is something that keeps me balanced. So it's like I just realized that, people pay for what they want to pay for, but everything doesn't have to have a cost. Mm-hmm. And so where I am now is like, I just want to be of service to people. It's like, if you buy product, that's great. If you join what I'm doing, that's great too. But at the point where I am now, I just want to be of service. There's too much information out here for people not to be able to have access to it. There are going to be people that want to hear what I have to say. So it's just about being consistent with it. Mm-hmm. So, and not getting frustrated.
Thank you. So our next question leads us into how have you maintained self-care since COVID-19?
Lots of coffee. Having a routine definitely helps. I battle with anxiety and depression. I've been diagnosed with those, and I have for the past 13 years, ever since my mom passed away. It's like, I think I probably always had anxiety, but I don't think it was as much until after she passed away. So one of the things that I found out was having a routine, not OCD, but just being in a routine, getting up at the same time every day, doing the same things every day. There's things that I do specifically that it's like, I can tell, like if I skip a step, then I feel like, wait a minute, something's missing. And it could be as simple as like, oh, I forgot to floss my teeth before I brushed. And then I have to go back. I don't start over, but it's just like, I feel like I'm one step behind when I fall out of my routine. So it's been a challenge because I'm not in my same space. So especially like for work, it's been challenging to really stay focused, because when you're at work, you have your people that are around you. So there's noise, there's all kinds of activity, and being home, it's just my family and I'm the only one in the house working. Mm-hmm. So for the past month, that was the case. My husband just went back to work on Monday. But so trying to stay focused while everybody else in the house is doing other things that you think are fun, that's hard.
You're giggling in the living room and you're like,
right. They're watching television, and I hear Netflix in the background downstairs, but I'm upstairs, reviewing refunds and things like that. So that's been the one challenging piece of it. Making sure that just staying in contact with the friends that I have and the friends that I trust has been helpful. Mm-hmm. I don't watch television news. That has been the biggest savior. I think I've watched I mean, I watch TV and I watch, the shows that I watch, and I watch movies and things like that. But television news, I refuse to watch it. I watched Jay Inslee's press conference when he shut the state down and said we were going to be shut down until the 24th of April. That was the last thing I watched.
Mm-hmm.
I can't watch it because I won't say it's not that it's not factual. It's just there's just so much over the top.
Yeah.
It's like, and you can't, what's fact? It's like there's so much hyperbole. It's like I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so I find if I just read the news, I still get some of that, the regular press, stuff. And I'll read like maybe one of those articles and then I'll scroll real quick. And then if I see something that looks credible, I'll look at the source and see where that comes from. And then if it's a credible source, then I'll continue to read the article. But in terms of watching news and talking about it constantly, I just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing I think that has kept me from completely losing it. Because at the very beginning when this all started, when we got the first case here in Washington State, I couldn't believe it was on the news all the time. Me and my sister went out for pizza and that's all they showed on the news. And at the time, nothing was closed yet. So, people were still going to parties. People were still going to, games. Basketball season was still in full swing. I was getting excited because baseball season was about to start. That's probably the hardest thing if there's no baseball. But I couldn't believe how much they were talking about it. And all they're focusing on is death. That's all they're focusing on. They're not focusing on any of the success stories. They're not focusing on any of the people that are surviving. It's always, this is how many people are getting it, or this is how many cases we have. This is how many people have died.
Yeah.
It constantly talks about who's essential and who isn't. And, it's just, I don't want that in my psyche. I told my husband, I was like, I'm legit scared. And then, but once I stopped watching the news, it still creeps in there. And I'm still, pretty OCD about it. It's like, did you wash your hands? Make sure you're drinking all your water, trying to get up and move around as much as possible. But the biggest piece of advice is just turn off the television news. It's the best thing you could do.
I did a blog about, a pandemic without panic. And one of the things, it's like stay away from the news because news is a narrative. It has somebody else's narration of how they see it through their eyes. It's like just going to the source, like, WHO, World Health Organization website, and just getting the facts. And then from there, acting accordingly. But, news come with commentary, how people see things and how they process the world through their eyes. And then it comes to you. And if you don't have anxiety, but they have anxiety, now you've picked up on their anxiety, now you got anxiety.
Exactly. And that's one of the things about having a journalism background, because that's what I graduated with. I have a degree in communication. It's not news anymore. It's all opinion. It's like, is there a fact in here? Where's the who, what, where, when, and why? Because it's like, I don't hear any of that. I hear a lot of opinion, and the questions you're asking, well, it's like, what do you think? And it's like, no, what do you know? It's like, I don't understand why these questions are so hard to ask. And then if your opinion differs from what that narrative is, oh, you're short-sighted. You don't know what you're talking about. They just try to minimize what you're saying. So instead of people who have facts, and I really don't want to talk about President Trump, but I have to make this point. So you have a doctor who's ahead of this. He's like one of the smartest people that are on, that know about this disease and coronaviruses in general and allergies and all of that. And he's literally telling people, wash your hands, eat a healthy diet, get some exercise. No one's saying you can't go outside. You can. You just have to maintain your distance from people. Stay away from people. You can go outside, but you have to maintain this buffer. And people are like, oh, no, I don't want you. No, we want to listen to the other person ramble for 2.5 hours, and there's no fact. And that's what people are gravitating towards. They'd much rather have the drama than the person who's giving you the information, so that you can still be afraid, but not, you can still have fear, because I think the fear is basically what is going to keep you safe. Rational people are going to look at it and say, you know, I am afraid, but I'm not fearful. I'm still going to go, I'm still going to live my life, but I'm going to do it under these parameters and not see it as some kind of conspiracy or any of those other things. I think that's the other thing I was talking about. And one of the things about self-care is being able to still attend our meetings, because being able to see the friends, being able to use this technology, because the organization, our meetings have been canceled for longer than we've been on this. So being able to meet regularly, being able to, you know, we text, there's groups. Some of our friends, we have our own little Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
We have our happy hours. My husband and his group of friends, every Friday they have like a Zoom call. So there's just different ways. I think just having that, and just like friends that you can trust, staying away from news. And then the other thing that I have done is stay away from like Messenger, where people forward me articles about, well, have you done, if you just gargle with vinegar and you do all this other stuff. I'm like, people, yes, those things are healthful, but please don't send me any more videos. I've actually had to tell people this. Do not send me videos of people who are not doctors talking about medical stuff, and it's not medical. It's like, did this information come from this source? And if it didn't, then, you know, please don't, I appreciate it, but can you just not share that with me? If you want to talk to me, let's talk about this. I don't want to talk about, you know, fake information or stuff that isn't, you know, factual, and because it's just not helpful. I mean, there's a scripture that says, you know, our words should uplift. I mean, it's like, are you doing that? It's like, because if it isn't, then what's your intent of sharing this information? So that's one of the things that I'm trying to be mindful of, and making sure that my self-care, so that I don't lose my mind and that I can continue to do what I do.
Well, as we start to wrap this up, so where can people connect with you?
They can go to my makeup group page. So there's like, everything is under Gray and Gloss except for my personal Facebook page. So on Facebook, my makeup group is Gray and Gloss. You can also follow me on Instagram. I'm extremely active over there. And that is also Gray and Gloss. And then my name is Robin Joelle on Facebook, and everything is linked to there. So if you follow me at my personal page, Robin Joelle, and go to my profile, my Facebook group is listed there, and my Instagram group is listed there. And then you can always message me. I am very responsive there too.
Awesome. So I know that one of your favorite books is the Gray New World Translation, but are you reading any other books right now?
There's one book that I am trying to finish, and that is The Girl Wash Her Face book. I read it once, and I'm trying to reread it again. And there's just a lot of really good information in there. And then there's just a couple of other books that I haven't started to read yet, but they are on my list of books to read, and they're over on the side. It is The Proposal and The Wedding Date, and they're by Jasmine Guillory. And so I picked those up. I was in Target, and I was like, I'm going to try and read 2 books that don't have anything to do with self-help and aren't the New World Translation. So I want to definitely read more during this time. I haven't had the opportunity to start them because I've been working and then just trying to keep the blog going. But those are the 2 books that I want to actually get started and finish before I go back to work full time. So, which I think will probably be around June. So I have another month.
Yeah, I know. When I feel down and I don't know, I like books. I just always like books. I've always carried books around. I mean, you know, and it comes from also living in a city, because you don't know, like, if you get on the train or you're doing public transportation, like keep your mind going. When I was in school back in the day, I lived in the country in Virginia. Our bus ride was an hour. I would get those V.C. Andrews books back in the day. I would read one of those novels in one night. Like I was such an avid reader, and now just like being around books, even though I'm not reading them, it's just like I have my own library and
you have them out.
Inspiration. I can open it and flip through.
Exactly.
So
and I am a book reader. I mean, it's very tactile. It's like, yeah, I have all this stuff. I have a laptop, I have an iPad, I have my phone, but when it comes to reading a book, I'd much rather have the actual book.
The feel.
Yeah. The book, the smell, going in the libraries, it's like, it's all, yeah, I miss that piece of things.
Only other readers and paper junkies get it. The smell of ink and paper and like having a certain pound of paper. 32 is my jam. I like paper. I just I'll feel a book. If the pages feel thin, I don't even bother.
I don't want to read it. I mean, the thinnest paper book that we have is the New World Translation, and that's it.
Yeah,
I'm not reading anything.
That's like a whole different kind of paper.
Right. So, I mean, the other thing is like, in addition to reading and books, music. That's the other thing that has really gotten me through.
DJ Nice, he's doing it up. DJ Nice.
DJ Nice is doing it. Yes, he's doing it up. And I listen to, they're a collective. It's called Selection, and I've been listening to them since 2013. Yeah. And it's just, I've been to a couple of the shows, and it's amazing. You just get, because you can just get lost in music. And a lot of the time it's just, like beats. There's not a lot of lyrics and things like that because they're mixing. So it's not, whereas D Nice, he's doing a lot of the old school stuff. So I feel like it's music that we grew up listening to because he's, the same age as us. But it's funny that music is also music that our parents listen to. So you just know how timeless good music is. And so I like him because he plays some of the new stuff, but most of his stuff is old. And I'm like, some of the music that he's playing, I'm like, oh my goodness. The memories that are tied to some of the songs that he plays, I was like, oh, I haven't heard this in so long. It's like, oh, I forgot about this. It's like, oh my God, that was like 30 years ago I was here. And it's like, so listening to it it's very,
it's neat.
I like it a lot.
Kind of different, like Questlove, like he does, like he's really educational. He like says like his music, he explains like some history behind what he plays, and then DJ Nice kind of takes us through the genre and like to like now, or if it's too a little racy, you kind of like, okay, I'll see you on the next one, but then he has his like Quiet Storm, and I mean, it's just kind of like, it's really cool. Yeah, music definitely is a gift. So yeah.
He manages to play Stevie Wonder and Something from Songs in the Key of Life in every show he does, and that, I mean, you just think about albums and music that kind of just defines a period of your life, and that album is like the first album that I was able to listen to as a kid. It came out when I was 10, and I can still listen to that album.
Yeah.
Start to finish. I mean, and it's a double album. And then there was like, if you're familiar with the vinyl, it's a double album. It came with a booklet that was huge. And then it had 245s with bonus songs on there. So it's like, I'm using verbiage that I'm sure a lot of people that are younger than us.
Vinyl is making its way back.
I know.
I thought about, I want that. I remember I had my Soul to Soul album. I bought in New York. And yesterday, DJ Nice, he did one song that was on there that I felt was more popular than, Back to Life, right? It was another one. I think it was Be Fair. That one on it had like this different beat, and I was like, I love that one. I got that album, I just played that one over and over and over, and I love that one. But yeah, I was like, man, I should get back into vinyl. I'm like, oh no, I got enough notebooks, papers, and pens. I was just like, we just gonna keep this part of your life digital.
there's certain albums that I wouldn't mind having on
Yeah.
vinyl just because of the memory, but
Mhm.
it's like there's just so much music now. There's good music out too. So I mean, you know, there's a lot of creativity. So, but I listen to Selection every Monday at my desk. They release a show live on
Make sure you
Saturday.
send me that, because I
I
also
will.
listen to World FM radio, and I like them because there's a lot of underground artists that's
Mm-hmm.
on there, and they have jazz, they have all this different kind of
Mm-hmm.
music, and it's like people from Belgium DJing or Colombia, like it's
Mm-hmm.
like all over. I really like it because it expands like the content of sound and
Mm-hmm.
different scenes. It's not just on the radio. Sometimes you're in the radio, you're like, oh yeah, you feel the groove, but sometimes you're just like, I just
Right.
want some mature sounds, vibration, like it just
Mhm.
how it all works. We're all just
Right.
wonderfully made.
I'll send it to you. Every now and then it's like I have to kind of fast forward a little bit, which is why I like iTunes. So because you can skip like 30
Yeah.
seconds. So it's like this is a little too racy for me. So it's just like, can we fast forward? But
Am I stuck? You stuck. Okay.
no, there you are. You're
All right.
unfrozen.
Yeah, I'm like, it's about that time where everybody's starting at 7:16. The cheerings are like starting to log on for
Mhm.
school. Like,
Everybody's awake and up and ready to start their day.
yeah, that's why I'm like, I like to get up early, get the most important stuff done. Cause I'm like, here it comes. I was like, oh, here we go, clockwork time. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go because I know you got lots of things to do. But thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk to me and like share all the things that you've been going with and dealing with and how you're maintaining. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And this is, this is the second time we've done this. So these are cool. I like them being able to, just talk and share and, have some fun.
Yeah, and everybody can listen to us while you're walking,
Mm-hmm.
And also you can give us feedback too, and make sure you follow Robin over at Gray and Gloss. And you can find me at Liberate and Lather. Bye, guys.
Bye.